It's Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which means
you're here.
And so are we for CV Tech Talk. Tonight we are talking presidential themed EDU. And most important thing, what are we drinking? A local wine?
Yes, from Kings River Winery. It's the closest winery to our house.
Correct.
5 minutes away.
Yep.
And it's one of our favorite varietals, Alicante Bouschet.
And this is not a very common wine to find. The grapes are not grown. I don't remember the acreage, but there are not very many vineyards in California at all.
Nope.
So we love when we find the Alicante Bouschet because that is something that, well, we've got 2 in Sanger, actually, wineries that have it, and we think it's great. So anyway, thanks for being with us today. TweetDeck had some interesting things with our scheduled tweets today. So I don't know where the welcome question went. Did you get it?
I haven't seen it.
But that's okay because question 1 just dropped. And it says, drum roll.
I'm sorry.
We should play what's the presidential music?
I just did it.
Is that what that is? Oh. So anyway.
I'm not going to sing the Mike Epps version. That's inappropriate.
Anyway, question 1 says, George Washington was the first president of the U.S. Describe the lessons you learned during your first year of teaching. That's a good question, don't you think?
That's a good
Good question. So the welcome question that you didn't, well, I don't even see
It
it.
never came.
Huh, it was scheduled. Maybe there was no hashtag or something.
Probably.
The question was going to, yeah, we'll just go past it.
So, what lessons did you learn in your first year of teaching?
Yeah. And it's weird that it doesn't show us who's joining us anymore.
Oh, there's no one's on. That's why.
No, we had 2 before, and it doesn't show us. So we apologize if we're not saying hello to those of you that are viewing, but for some reason it's not showing. No. Do we have this as a priority device?
No.
Let's do that.
Well,
Okay.
that didn't work.
Yeah, oh well. So, yeah, question 1, your first year of teaching. See if you can remember back and think of the lessons you learned. Adam is feverishly typing about his first year of teaching. We are both loud typists.
Yes.
And fast as well. Did you ever take a typing test, Adam, for speed?
I think so. Like, not unofficially.
Yeah?
Not officially.
I took like those free ones online, and I amazed my son. At the time, he was like in junior high.
Yeah.
He was in like 7th grade or something, and he was amazed at how I was in like it's a little ridiculous. It's like top 2% of typers in the world or whatever. I said, well, that's because when I was in college, I was on AOL Instant Messenger all the time, and I wrote several papers every week because I was an English major. So
There you go.
it makes sense. It just makes sense. So, presidential themed EDU. It's really irritating that we can't see who's on here. I wonder why they changed that on Facebook here. Anyway. So it is the end of the school year, but we are talking about the beginning of your teaching career by asking about your first year teaching. So, and you know what? I'm going to retweet this and put the ISTE hashtag. Those of you that are not aware, ISTE is arguably the largest international EdTech conference in the entire world.
Well, EdTech, yes. Not
Yes.
Ed conference, but EdTech, yes.
Did I mean it? I meant to say EdTech. Did I say Ed?
No, you said EdTech.
Yeah. And so it's in Philadelphia this year. And so I'm going to put the ISTE hashtag because a lot of people have been following that and they may be interested in joining the chat.
Yeah.
All right. So Adam, tell us
My
your
first
answer.
year,
here.
I was under the impression that I'm going to go through this textbook and all the lessons that I have created, resources, are going to go in the filing cabinet. The next year, I'm just going to whip it out, and I'm on cruise control. That's what I was told to do.
Oh,
By the first day of the second year, I learned that was a myth. Not cool.
well, I have a bit of a similar story in that when I first taught music, so I'm preparing lessons for, I had like, at one point I had over 20 how many classes did I have? I think over 20 classes and over 200 students, 200, something like that.
Okay.
I think it was over 250, but anyway. And so, but at the beginning, what I did was I would plan out, like I just figured I know what these kids are going to get.
Yeah.
I know what they're going to understand. So I know what makes a good lesson. So I planned out like 6 weeks in advance. Can't do that when you're meeting with them every week, right? Because you just don't know the things that you're going to have to rehearse again, the things that you're going to have to go over again, you know what I mean? So anyway, so that's what happened with my first year teaching. What else did you learn your first year teaching, Adam?
That it's probably better off that I don't avoid the staff lounge.
Don't avoid.
I was always told, avoid it.
I was told that too.
I pretty much missed out a lot. Missed out on connecting with colleagues.
Mm.
So I was taught early on, no, don't even go in there. They're just gonna bitch and complain.
Right.
It's a natural part of teaching.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Very interesting. All right, so I'm going to tweet this out here. Excellent. I think we should turn on that other light
Okay.
so that there will be more light here. Let's see here, see if that helps. Even though I hate this light because it's fluorescent light,
Yes.
I was going nuts today because I was indoors with no sun and until from like 7:30 a.m.
No Dylan?
Huh?
No Dylan?
What do you mean no Dylan? I don't understand what you're talking
You
about.
said no son.
Oh, S-O-N. I meant S-U-N. And no windows between like 7:15 and lunch was going to be like at like 12 something. And I just said, I have to go take a walk. I have to go outside. I know it's 106 out or whatever, 106 degrees. I don't even care. I need some sun. It drove me nuts. Can't handle all this fluorescent light all the time. So, oh, here we go. Les is here. He was actually on Facebook Live as well.
That's right.
Dinerstein, is that how I say it?
Dienerstein.
Something. And he said he learned that teaching was harder than subbing. Yeah, that's a good point. I actually had the same experience. I even subbed emotionally disturbed classes. I subbed mod severe special ed classes. And so I thought like, oh, I got this. No, having it be your own class is certainly different. Then he says he didn't learn the value of building relationships until year 5. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a real big one. I would say because I taught primary, I didn't truly learn that lesson. I didn't truly learn the power of that lesson until I taught 6th grade. Because with younger students, you're teaching K1, 2, the relationships are a little different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They know you care, that's what you're trying to, you're interested in their lives, but it's not going to be, the same as if you have older kids, for sure. So anyway, all right. So we'll see if we get any ISTE hashtag followers here.
That would be cool.
We got a fly in
This
here.
fly is annoying.
It's really irritating. I'm going to get a fly swatter out just in case it gets close to a place I can swat that dumb thing. Let's see. Here we go. There we get scared away.
Actually, I learned my first year the power of having fly swatters in your classroom. When the weather changes, that's when the flies come in.
Yes.
What's up, Justin Martinez? When are we going to race? Every time I'm there, you never show up, Justin.
You race for what?
He thinks he's faster than me.
In what? Like running?
I'm running. So I told him let's go, and he never shows up. So
Okay.
Captain Justin, what's up, bro? You know where I'm at. You know how to find me. I'm not hiding. Just saying, bro. You owe me a race.
It's a pretty quiet chat so far.
It's summer.
Yeah, and everyone like just got off, so they're like, I don't want to think about school.
Screw school. That's what they're doing.
That's not very nice.
It's all right. We have less. That's all we need. And Justin.
That's right. That's right. And there may be some more in a bit. I did get, when was it? Forget when. I was responding to a tweet earlier this week, and so I said that people were talking about like not being able to participate on Twitter chats or whatever because they're doing stuff, and so I said, well, that's why we simulcast on Facebook, because people have told us that like we'll make dinner and still be able to participate, so be able to watch and learn.
That's right.
And I got a lot of likes on that, even some retweets. So
I used to do Twitter chats and bathe my kids at the same time.
But not everyone likes
that's
that. Not everyone's a big geek like us. There's that dumb fly.
Get that.
Ah, come on, stupid fly.
She flush you.
Okay, so I didn't get the fly, but I swatted this dumb fly swatter so bad that the sticker came off.
Well, there you go. That's something. That's definitely something.
I guess. All right. Let's see. We got a like from Danielle Moore.
All right.
She needs to join the chat. All right, here we go. Question 2 just dropped. And question 2 says, the president discusses plans for the future in the State of the Union address. How do you plan for an upcoming school year?
I'm coming back the first day of August.
You plan the first day of August?
Let's come back to that.
Oh, so like your school, in other words, your district pays for you guys to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say join the chat to ISTE peeps as well. Because there have been a lot of people following that hashtag. They're getting excited. They're getting excited about the ISTE conference coming up. We're getting excited too.
Yep.
So. Oh, look, the welcome. Les saw the welcome.
Well, we didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
The blood.
Oh, there I see it now. But it showed up like super late.
Oh.
That's interesting.
7:13.
No, it's telling me 13 minutes ago it showed up on TweetDeck. I don't know.
So, yep, I get to come in early August.
Yeah?
And plant my flag, especially with the new teachers. That's usually,
there you go.
That's usually my main role there. Hey, Cousin Lisa, what's up?
All right.
Cousin Lisa is getting married in October, I think.
Oh, that's a good month to
Or
get
September,
married.
I forget.
Either way, fall. That's good. That's good. Yep. So, yeah, I'm actually doing a lot of planning right now. Contacting districts and principals about their goals for next year. So, all right, Les said he finally got his 4-month-old to settle down so that he can participate in the chat.
That is a huge win.
That is a huge win. Absolutely. We hear you, Les. All right. So, yeah, State of the Union address and planning.
I can't remember last time I watched the State of the Union address.
We watched a bit of the most recent one, was it?
Did we?
Yeah, and then we just turned it off.
Yeah, it wasn't that good.
Yeah, I think we maybe watched 10 minutes. Maybe.
I might have watched 1 or 2 of Obama, I think 1 of Bush, but not one that I really.
I used to watch them all the time. all the time. I never missed it. Never missed it. But after the bailout in 08, right?
09.
Oh, no.
It was those 2 years.
Okay.
They started talking about it before Obama took office.
Yes.
And
it was a bipartisan mistake, in my opinion, And after that, I lost a lot of faith in our abilities as voters to do anything to affect politics, sadly. So I have not stayed as informed as I used to. That could be it could be argued that that's not responsible, but I decided I have a lot more important things to worry about that I can affect. Like I'm going to worry about the things that I can affect. I can affect change with my family, with those that are in my midst. So I decided to focus on them instead of on politics.
What's up, Dre? Man, I think you said that we need to meet for breakfast on Monday. I don't know. It's going to be kind of a hectic morning, so I don't know if we can eat breakfast. If you are out of work, between 4 and 5 that time, we might be able to meet. But yeah, breakfast.
Monday next week?
Yeah, when we're in Davis.
Oh, because we got to be there early, I think.
Yeah, we have to be there at the conference early.
Yeah. Unless it's a super, I think we
usually
we have to be there.
Like 7:45.
Yeah.
So unless you want to get up crack at dawn.
I mean, we're cool with that, but.
We're totally cool, so let me know. I'll hit you up on the Facebook Messenger.
Sounds good.
Right.
So question 2 just dropped. And it says, my job has me returning. You just did answer 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm behind, man. I got talking and I lost track.
It's June. We're all over the place.
Here we go. Okay, so Les just answered question 2.
Yes.
So we were asking about planning for the upcoming school year. It's interesting. He said he cleans house.
Yep.
Huh.
Oh yeah, he does a purge. I did a huge purge.
Of his room, he must mean, not of his actual house. Okay.
Yes.
Getting rid of copies from the previous year, yeah.
Yep.
Starting fresh with the curriculum.
That right there's a huge. He says start fresh with the curriculum.
Yes.
That's huge.
Yeah, you don't want to get stale.
Do not, you should not be teaching everything. You should not just rinse and repeat every year.
No.
Sorry.
You have different kids, duh.
You're different, the kids are different. It should be tweaked at a minimum.
Would you coach a team the same every year?
Hell no.
No, because you're going to have different players.
Different
it's
strengths.
The same thing.
So we have my boy Dre right here watching. He could definitely attest to this. So when Andre Alexander first got recruited to Fresno State, he was recruited there on the idea that it's a wide receiver university. They throw the ball over the place. Well, during Dre's senior year, they were a very run-heavy team. That was the strength of the team. They could run on anybody. Okay. And, he didn't catch as many balls as I'm sure he would have liked, but when he did catch them, it was like 20 yards to catch. So it was very efficient. But, as a wide receiver, you want to catch 50, 60 passes a year. And that kind of – see, the thing is the coach played to the strengths of the team. Well, their biggest strength was running the ball, controlling the clock, using that great defense, and winning that way. And throwing only when you need to. And it was very devastating when they did. But, again, 1 year, you're good at one thing and the kids are good at something. The next year, it's totally different. You got to play to your strengths.
Now, here's what I like about what you said. Mm-hmm. You talked about playing to the strengths.
Yes.
How many times, and we talked about this in the UDL workshop today with teachers and coaches and district administrators, that how many times in education do we focus on kids' weaknesses?
Yes.
And we never focus on their strengths. And so instead of planning to the weaknesses of kids to fix the deficiencies, what if we found out what their strengths are and we built on their strengths?
Yes.
That's what we need to do in education. And so I love that you made that coaching
reference. As simple
reference.
as this. You focus what they can on what they can do, not what they can't.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And use some strengths-based language.
Yes.
I don't want to hear anybody tell a parent your kid's low.
Yes.
Or your kid's high. Because everybody's different and everybody's an individual and we all have things that we have opportunities for growth in and things that we excel in. Even if there's kids that don't know what they excel in yet. So anyway, Jennifer Scott is here with us.
She just jumped in. She says, for question 2, she's been reflecting on what worked well and using that data to update the class website. This includes relationship building, tech support, and clear learning. I want to focus on a word she said there. She said, using from her reflections, That's the data.
Only that.
Did she say a spreadsheet? Did she say test scores?
Right.
Not once did she was not even referring to that in any way, shape, or form. The word data usually means numbers on a spreadsheet.
No.
I'm sorry, is that what our kids are?
No.
No, when I hear data, that's just what people say, and I'm rolling my eyes. I'm sorry, I don't care, but data is so much more than just test scores and numbers on a spreadsheet.
Data is what students write, what they're passionate about, what they sketch.
Yep.
So, all right, question 3 just dropped, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, drum roll, that was a drum roll. It's trying to be real soft so that your ears don't bother you with listening to Facebook Live there.
That's right.
So a soft drum roll for question 3 says, U.S. presidents pardon a turkey each Thanksgiving. Is it on the day of Thanksgiving or?
I don't know. Exactly.
I think it's before. Anyway, what traditions exist in your classroom or at your school site?
Traditions.
Yeah, traditions.
Thinking
While you're
right
thinking, I'm going to let the dog
I was
in.
thinking of one that was very inappropriate. We don't do anymore.
Any questions? Say it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it. But anyone who ever worked at Almani with me will know what I'm talking about. Let's see.
Come in, Bailey's hot.
What tradition? You know a lot.
It could be in your classroom. It could be in your school, whatever. Maybe you have traditions in your classroom.
Let's see.
Maybe you have traditions in your school. Maybe you agree with the traditions. Maybe you don't. When I was in high school, there were plenty of school traditions that I did not agree with. Of course, that's also because I was a high schooler and was bitter at the establishment, including the school, which was the establishment to me at the time. You know. So, let's see. Oh, I like what Jennifer Scott said, by the way. She went back to question 1, asking about what you learned your first year teaching. And she said something interesting with this question. She said the enthusiasm of a first-year teacher should be valued and embraced by veteran teachers. That is a very interesting and awesome comment. So thank you, Jennifer, for putting that question in there. And again, question 3, we're talking about traditions. Traditions.
So tradition, my favorite tradition when I taught middle school history was after state testing, the final that I gave them was they had to know the then all 44 presidents in order. I used the Animaniacs song to help them memorize it. Then
Animaniacs.
Yep. Then they had to know, they had to, on the map, they'll locate all 50 states. Like by I gave them a blank note, you had to label it in front of me. And all 50 capitals. So that was like 3 to 4 weeks of just studying and testing. And every time they passed one of the tests, which I broke the whole thing up into like about 10 tests, mini tests, that they could choose to make me do 10 push-ups, 20 curls, or 20 sit-ups. So like I said, hey, you guys get to punish me. So in 1 week, I gained like nearly 15 pounds of muscle. I did so many thousands of reps. Like it was unhealthy, the amount of muscle. Like I couldn't put my shirt on like that next week. It was insane. Like how to gain all this weight. It was probably a very unhealthy way to gain weight. But someone who was on earlier this evening on Facebook Live, Justin, was the last class of.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he's trying to get me in shape. So we have Eddie Gonzalez from Bakersfield. He's on the Twitters, and he's going back to question 2 about what he does to plan for the school year. He says he reads, dreams, takes notes, and plans, prepares, and jumps. He has a nice little gif there of a parachuter.
Okay.
Thank you, Eddie.
I'm talking about the traditions I disliked as a student. I went there.
Yeah.
That's right. Jennifer's here as well.
And Jody.
Nice. Nice.
What is up? Jennifer's double dipping tonight.
Love it.
So
good stuff.
So Jody, question 3 was talking about traditions. What was your favorite school tradition. I'm sure you, from your wealth of experience, could probably share with us some good traditions. Some that we went through at the same time that were probably inappropriate. We don't talk about. I'm sure you know what I'm getting at, but I won't divulge any more than that, Jody. I bet Jody probably doesn't miss the stress of the Avid interviews at the end of every year. That used to be a busy time for Jody.
That doesn't sound very fun.
That was a lot of work I used to see, and I did not envy.
Yeah.
So question 4 just dropped, and it says presidential campaigns begin long before an election. How do you prepare students in the time leading up to summative assessments? Just a question.
I like that question.
Yes, it was interesting. How do you prepare for like state testing?
Yeah, but like
benchmarks, or midterms, finals.
Right, but how do you prepare far in advance? Because that's the question, is that, elections start long before that voting, right? So, hey, Susan's here.
What's up?
Yeah, so the question, Eddie's here again. Let's see. Eddie said, a box of oranges from your tree goes a long way. Making quesadillas in class takes it further, and a random lunch from Amigos is the best. It is the bee's knees.
The bee's knees.
Nice. Very nice, Eddie. Very nice. All right. So, again, question 4. How do you prepare students for a summative assessment? So, as far as like, do you do backwards planning? Do you give them lots of formative assessments along the way? Do you just say, I don't prepare them, good luck, I don't care, kids? Like, what do you do? What's your plan? That's what you do? You just say, too bad, I don't care?
Yep.
So, we'll see what people say.
Pretty much, for me, the way I teach history now, I'm giving them the questions weeks, sometimes a month in advance, and then formative assessment all the way through. There's no other way for me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not trying to trick them. I tell them, I want you to pass. They're like, these are the questions? I go, yes. You give us a question? I go, yes. I give you the questions. I want you to pass. So if you figure it out now or start thinking about it now, your answers will kind of evolve and develop. Like, I'm not trying to trick you here. My job is to get you to learn it, not make you try to trick you and make you guess about it. Yeah, which is what most people do.
Yeah, I like what Susan says here on the Facebook. I almost said on the Twitters on Facebook. Like training for a marathon, building up a little at a time. I've never trained for a marathon, so I don't know that that's the case, but I believe you. That makes sense.
Yep.
Makes sense. That's a little bit similar to something I was going to say, is that you have to build stamina, especially with younger kids. If they're not used to reading and writing that length of a time, and then they get to the assessment, they're going to burn out. And so you have to build that stamina throughout the year a little bit at a time.
So teaching history, there's no assessment for it, no state assessment anymore here in California. So I'm thinking college. I'm thinking, okay, you're going to be in classes where you have to go write a blue book. Remember the blue books, the dreaded blue books?
I don't think they do that anymore.
Yeah, they do. We saw Scantrons at that junior college down in Temecula, remember? At IAQ?
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah,
Scantron. Seriously? Yeah. First of all, that's multiple choice.
In the vending machine. So I guarantee, they had blue books in there too. I guarantee you they're still using blue books. If they're not,
some, not all.
You're still doing long essay constructed responses as finals. I guarantee you that's still going on many places.
Yeah.
So if that's going to be a way you're going to be assessed, I'm breaking up in smaller chunks. But, I'm thinking that's what I'm preparing them for that when they get to that point.
Oops.
Oh, man. Let's see, those are tweets for Saturday.
Tweets for Saturday? What are you talking about?
My mailing list tweets.
Oh, scheduling tweets. Yes. All right. So I talked about not only building that stamina, like I said, for preparing for summative assessment, but also ensuring students are familiar with the format of the test.
Yes.
Embedding the vocabulary and also the tech tools that are going to be used on the test.
Okay, remember back to my last question, I talked about the final I used to give as a tradition. They made me do push-ups.
Yeah.
We have another former student here who went through that.
Oh, cool.
Saraji.
All right.
Saraji is at Cal right now.
Oh, cool.
He's in Berkeley.
Awesome.
And he was the one when we brought Brian Costello to go visit classes.
Oh, yes.
Who, when they asked him about, hey, how well do you use Cornell Notes in college? He's the one that said, well, I kind of don't as much anymore.
No one uses Cornell doesn't use Cornell Notes. Come on.
He gave me a shout out because he's like, well, I kind of use the methods Mr. Waters taught me, digital. So yeah, I do both. So.
Oh, look at this. Eddie liked my tweet because he said research shows ASB elections have almost no effect on student leadership other than the elected students, also reinforces the status quo. That is correct. Thank you, Eddie. See, I hated them for a reason. It was just a popularity contest. It was a little ridiculous. Just saying. So, and honestly, that happens in the adult world too, doesn't it? Just saying. Just saying.
I had to tweet it back and say, is this because you never got elected?
Oh, you would. You would say that.
I have to.
You would say that. No, you should say, is this because your brother is the popular one?
Oh.
Okay.
Which brothers? You got like 5 brothers.
Well, I only know of one.
Yeah. That's true.
I never met any of them, but I know of one.
You met his mom. His mom a couple times.
I met his mom.
A couple times.
That's right. And Irma, my amazing, I don't like the word support staff. What could I call her?
I don't know.
That's what they say. But anyway, she's like my right-hand person. Anyway, she knew Eddie's brother as well. So I know people that knew him.
Everyone knows his brother.
That's what I'm saying. He's a popular one. Oh, here we go. All right. Are we on the next question yet?
Let's see. I don't see it yet. Question 5 has not dropped and will not drop for another minute.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, boom.
So question 5 says, what are your feelings regarding student elections at school? So
Oops, we kind of already got that.
Yeah, what are your feelings? I know how you feel.
Well, I won't say the words that I feel. So when my cousin was in high school, you know my cousin Jeremiah? So he was definitely not one of the popular leadership ASB kids, right?
Yeah.
But he loved skateboarding. And he was a leader, and back then skateboarding was not, it was not real popular like it is now, right? It was not very, it wasn't well thought of. It was thought of as something that only the, ditching, smoking, druggy kids did, right? So being a leader, not with ASB, not with anything school sponsored, he actually started the first skateboarding club at Clovis High School. He went and found a teacher that was willing to be a sponsor or whatever. And I think that is a better form of leadership because it's owned by the kid and it's by a student saying, I want to start this club, I want to do this. That's much better than a school-sponsored election and leadership opportunity.
Yes.
If we have students that have the idea, it's organic, and that's really what we want in the world anyway, is we want people that, you don't just go up the corporate ladder anymore. You don't stay at a job and go up the corporate ladder. Like the people that make the biggest impact in the world, they start things themselves. They create their own opportunities. They don't look, what can I get elected for? You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
If I can't get elected, I'm not going to try to be the best at something. I'm going to be the best me that I am and look for opportunities. That's what I'm going to do. So anyway. All right. What are people saying?
going back to question one, Les Dienerstein's going back to question one about preparing students for summative assessments. Actually, no, it's question 4, but he put A1, so no big deal. He says he uses warm-ups. Kids create a 2-minute presentation based on what they've learned so far. He also rocks Turbo's Iron Chef protocol. Question 5. We got Miss Andrea Connor here. What is up, Miss Connor?
That's right.
Long time no see. Usually pops in on TV TikTok. Again, today we were drinking from Kings River Winery, which was like 5 minutes from our house. Their Alicante Boucher, which is very rare. There's like 3 wineries in the valley that do it. You don't see it hardly anywhere else. It's a rare varietal to find, so look for it. It's good stuff. I don't think I've ever had a bad one yet. This one's pretty good. Our favorite's at Cedar View.
Oh, the Alicante, yeah.
Where we got married, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
There's the one over in Madera County we haven't tried yet. The Pagny, we're told, has that one. So we need to get out there one of these days and give it a shot.
Oops, there we go. Oh, I guess I went back to tradition too there with that answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So did you talk about Eddie's answer?
No.
So Eddie says those things like, prom king, prom queen, ASB, mainly pageantry titles, he says.
Yep.
They're honorific. He said he's read that in Australia they have functioning student boards with elections. Cool teacher pedagogy journal that covers it is Teach the Teacher. See, so that's, and I will say, like, at my high school, the ASB did do a lot of stuff, but it still didn't feel organic because they'd still hit like a lot of roadblocks. It was still like, instead of them coming up with new ideas, it was, what's your idea in this that we always do every year? Yeah. Like the teacher telling them that, the leader telling them that. And that's what I don't like. I would rather these students say, hey, why don't we start? Like even when I was in elementary school, our student council decided to start a recycling program. Like that was up to the kids.
Yeah.
They decided they wanted to plant some trees. And so then they had to call and find out how much it would cost and how are we going to fundraise and all this stuff. It was owned by the students. And sadly, when it's school sponsored, a lot of times that does not occur.
That's true.
So that's my beef with those types of things. Just saying. Yep. So anyway, that's that. We've got question 6.
2 minutes.
It's actually less than 2 minutes.
That's true.
Yeah. So. All right. Less than 1 minute now until question 6 will be dropping. So that's exciting. I think we have a lot of people that are on vacation because they just finished school.
Mm-hmm.
Or they are tired because they just finished school and don't want to think about education at the moment, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. That's all right. So, but we are happy to have some, we are a small group tonight. We are strong. We've got a lot of great answers and some robust conversations. So that's exciting. All right, less than 1 minute, and then we're going to have question 6. I think question 6 is a pretty good one, if I must say so myself. We'll see what you think. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't looked ahead. Oh, here we go. Here it is, question 6.
Okay, why don't you read it?
President Lincoln surrounded himself with individuals who did not agree with him. How do you engage with colleagues with differing views from your own?
It's a good question, huh? Right?
So, let's see here. Howard Kiyuna's going back to one of our older questions about traditions, talking about, he says, I cook Dodger Dogs, chili, and Fritos on my birthday for middle school and high school students and staff. I can't remember what year I started this, but it was within my first 3 years of teaching, so at least 15 years strong. And no, I'm no longer a Dodger fan.
What?
Oh.
You're gonna get him for that one. Oops. Yeah.
All right.
So question 6. This is a big one.
Yes.
You know, and so what do you do when there's surely there are colleagues you do not agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Now Lincoln put those colleagues on his cabinet purposefully, but we are not all Abraham Lincoln. So what do you do when you have colleagues that you do not agree with? But here's the key to this question. How do you engage in productive conversations? Which implies that you should, number 1, engage with them in conversation, and number 2, that the conversations should be productive. Good question, right? All right. So I'm going to respond to Eddie. Eddie said, went back to the student elections, and he said the problem with an elected position is that it's supposed to lead to an actionable outcome. But student elections typically don't produce something tangible. I would agree, especially when the teachers are those in charge of the agenda.
So for me, when I'm dealing with those teachers I don't agree with, it all depends how well I know them. So if I know them really well, I will politely engage in discussion publicly. Politely is the key word. Because nobody wants to be called out and thrown under the bus in public. If there's others who I know can have a discussion but really don't want to be, discussing things in public, it's one-on-one.
Sure.
Others just can't function if you don't agree with them. So I wait for them to seek me out. So I'm going to continue being mean. If they kind of antagonize them to come see me, then we'll talk. But I let them seek me out. Because I have dealt with people who you just can't. They can't deal with you if you don't agree with them. So it's kind of like you just need to kind of be patient and wait for it. So there's no one way to do it. It's definitely a slippery slope, and it's like walking a razor's edge half the time, especially in today's climate where sadly people think if you don't agree with 100% what they say that you hate them. That's kind of culture we live in, unfortunately. So definitely at work we have to tread lightly.
Well, and the thing is, we are there for students, and we need to model that. I remember when we started talking all about the 4 C's in collaboration when Common Core first came out. And so we're talking about how students need to collaborate with each other. And I remember students coming to me
Yes.
and asking why certain teachers would not collaborate with each other.
Yeah, I've had that too.
And that killed me because if we are asking our students to do something that we as adults can't do, we are hypocrites.
Oh, yeah.
And what are we showing our kids? That our words don't matter. That we don't even listen to what we're telling them to do.
Yep.
So that just broke my heart when that happened.
Katie McNamara, go back to question 3.
Oh, she's on now. Cool.
About traditions, and this is kind of goes with actually 2 questions. She kind of answers in one. She goes, the concept of valedictorian really starts to bother me. The race to be the best with your 4+ AP classes, I just can't support it. She doesn't like the whole valedictorian thing anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of. I would say it's kind of a relic. It's more of a. Really, when you're 30 years old, does anyone care if you're valedictorian anymore?
Here's the problem. You are trying to be the best at something instead of being the best you and finding how you can make a difference in the world. It focuses on the wrong thing.
The game of school really was what that is.
That's all it says.
That's what
That's all it says. And research shows that valedictorians are not as successful in life as those that are B or C students.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing.
Let's question 5, Howard Kuna says, we discussed student government. We currently use event-specific small committees, which enables us to maintain equity and have students work in areas of strength.
I like that.
Very good.
Very good.
Let's see. Katie McNamara is continuing back to question 5, saying that she's against popularity contests, student voice and ownership. Everything in school should not be a competition.
Amen.
It's true.
Preach, Katie. Preach.
Katie's on fire right now.
Yes, she is. Man, you know what?
Katie's a CV Tech Talk OG.
She is.
The official librarian.
You know what I gotta say too about Katie?
So,
Have you ever seen her present?
I did once. Yes, it was brilliant.
She's really good.
Yes.
She is.
She really
love.
connects with the audience.
She does, and she's so affirming. She
Yes.
asks questions. She's very humble, but she has like the best. Like she's full of knowledge. She's resourceful. I think she's got to be one of the best presenters I've seen. Just saying.
Howard Kuna continues with his traditions.
Mm-hmm.
Back to our previous question, and he says his pumpkin patch trip with kids at the school, holiday performances with dessert or dinner together. So it's eating with the kids.
Oh, that's important.
What he loves. He says a bike ride fundraiser. This one's huge for us. So it's interacting with the kids. Those are his favorite traditions.
Okay, question 7 just dropped.
Or what is it?
It says, and if you need the link, I can provide it. In an interview prior to leaving office, President Obama indicated that the Wi-Fi in the White House was not ideal. How does slow Wi-Fi affect your school, if at all? Maybe you have amazing Wi-Fi. What now?
It cripples us when it goes slow.
It what?
Cripples.
Cripples. I thought you said, I thought you were saying someone's last name.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, I've seen this video.
Yes, I use it quite often when I'm speaking with leaders, because what's interesting is that if a teacher experiences slow Wi-Fi once, they don't say anything. They experience it 4 times in 1 week. They might go tell someone. They might go tell their principal. The principal hears it 1 time. Do they do anything that first time? Typically?
Say it again. I'm sorry. I was
Okay. So listen. Let's say your Wi-Fi is slow. How many times does your Wi-Fi have to be slow regularly before you go tell your principal? Regular teacher. How many times does it have to be slow before they go tell their principal?
I don't know, because ours is pretty stable.
So bad example. Okay, well, I'm telling you because I've seen this in multiple districts.
Okay.
They will wait until it's been slow for a while because they're like, well, maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get better, right? So it has to be slow like 4 times in 1 week, pretty much throughout the day, and then they'll finally be like, hey, principal, can we do something about this? The Wi-Fi is pretty slow. That principal hears it from one person first. Are they gonna do anything about it? How many times do they have to hear it before they actually move forward and do anything?
I don't know.
Typically.
I don't know.
They don't. You know how many things they have going on their plate?
That's
Do
right.
they even believe, oh, it's one teacher that told me? Maybe that one teacher is the only one that had the guts to come tell you something. This also has to do with the culture, too. So, I've been in districts where I ask the question, hey, I noticed the Wi-Fi is a little slow. Is that normal? Oh, yeah, it's normally worse. I heard that from about 7 teachers, right? So what do? I go and I tell the principal, oh, they never told me. Oh, I think I got an email once or twice. So what did the teachers do? They stopped saying anything. And then the administrators wonder, why don't they use technology in the classrooms? Well, maybe it's because it keeps dropping every 5 seconds. I'm just saying.
Yep, that's true.
That is why I use that video in my leadership sessions.
Since my Wi-Fi got very stable, I don't deal with that anymore.
Yeah.
So, but when it does, it's like the sky's falling. Oh, can you fix it? I go, I'm not IT. I'm a coach.
Right.
I'm not IT. It's not working for me.
Right.
Just, you know what? It happens. It's the world we live in. Like, oh, I was in the middle of an assessment on Illuminate. Or kids were doing quizzes and now they can't do it. Or they were collaborating on I'm like, you know what? I'm glad you're doing all the stuff I've been teaching you. But there's really nothing I can do. So I guess it's almost affirming for my coaching, I guess.
Yeah.
That the world is falling. I mean, the sky's falling. I do enough blended instruction where when that happens, there's enough analog paper and pencil stuff they can do.
Yeah, that's important.
In the event that happens, but I'm very fortunate where I work that the Wi-Fi is extremely stable. So
you are fortunate.
That being said, when you have extremely stable Wi-Fi, teachers tend to do more, with technology.
That's my point.
So when it does go out, it's like the world's over.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I have talked to teachers that started using their phones and had kids get out their phones to connect to technology that way.
Yep.
That's how bad it was.
I've heard of that.
That is awful. Yeah. Crazy. It is already 7:51.
Damn.
And I have to say that the chat started a bit slow. And I know it's because it's the end of the year and such, but we got someone new. Did you see this? Jay Hamilton, Mr. Make Math Sense, is on the Twitters as well. I'm going to go ahead and follow him. He's from British Columbia, and he said that ASB elections and such are excellent opportunities to explore and practice digital citizenship. I think that's a good point.
Oh, yeah.
Manners, footprint, good and bad, participation in community, and considering larger civil topics. I think if done well, that certainly could occur. And I like that. I just wish that they all were that, went that well. Of course, yeah, I digress.
Going back to question 6 about colleagues you don't agree with, Les Silverstein says, I try to keep an open mind, especially with the colleagues who love to tell me I'm wrong. I don't engage. I might, however, they might go about doing whatever. Who knows? I might even learn something.
I like that approach. It's very humble.
Yep, open mind.
Yeah, and I really, if you ask enough questions.
Yeah, like George
If
Burroughs.
you ask it, yes.
It's very Socratic. You
Yes.
answer their questions with questions.
That's right. And so if you ask enough questions, this is what I found. Even those educators who I completely disagree with the way they're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I have found that in asking enough questions, I determine that number one, they believed they were doing what was the best for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that by me just disagreeing and going full force and saying why they're wrong, it's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important that we do ask a lot of questions and that we find out what motivates those educators, and that we validate the fact that they are doing what they believe is best at the time. I mean, think of how many things as an educator, we started the night with the first year we were teaching and what we learned. How many things did you do that first year? You look back and say, wow, that was stupid. I know I did. That wasn't the best for kids, but
I can't say that on live Facebook.
But we were doing what we thought was the very best at the time, and we thought we were doing what was best for kids. And so that's why I think we have to have that attitude with everyone in our midst.
All right, so question 8 is dropped, and it says, the Secret Service protects the president. How do you ensure safety physically, socially, and emotionally for your students?
It's a good question too, isn't it? Ooh.
Going back to question 6, Coward Kiyunis talking about people you disagree with.
Okay, good.
He says, civility is the hallmark of a mature disagreement. One can only imagine that once all parties reach an agreement as to the root of the issue at hand, that they would come to a resolution with ease. Talk like this, and they might leave you alone.
Well said, Harry Kayuna. Kayuna?
Kayuna.
Kayuna. Well
Probably
said.
Kiyuna. I think it's Japanese. It's a long E.
Think so?
Kiyuna.
Okay.
Only in English we have like the short E's. Or
Yeah,
I's, excuse me.
English is
English is
interesting.
all screwed up. Stupid language.
So, I think this is an interesting question because I have to say that the safety of students should be our number one priority.
Okay.
And what?
No, right. It's
Are you talking to Ro?
Yeah, it's a guy thing.
So that's one thing, but I think that many times teachers don't think about this as much as administrators do. Not by their own fault, but because, like, you know how many things I saw when I was an administrator? Like, because I was out there seeing cars driving like super fast through the parking lot. Yeah. Or like all this stuff that as a teacher I never saw. Yeah. And or understanding like, oh, there's like restraining orders on file at the office. Like I need to make sure that kid doesn't go with that parent. Like there's like serious safety issues that are so, we had well, you know the story about how I had to I almost called a lockdown because there was a bull. There was a bull across the street. No, I'm not even joking.
I know what story it's on.
There's so we're like halfway in town, halfway in the country, and there's this vacant lot that they hadn't started building on yet, and it was on the so it's across from the school, and so my office manager gets a call from like animal services or whatever, yes. And she calls me on the radio, and I hear in my ear, and she's like, Goyette, come in, and I was like, yes, it's Goyette, yeah. We have a bull that may be endangering kids, and I was like, can you repeat that? Yeah, we have I thought she was joking at first. She says, no, animal services called, or whatever, whoever it is that does animal services. And so I didn't want to scare everyone. And so like I kept an eye on it, which I probably shouldn't have done. It's probably like my own safety or something, it's probably dumb. But I basically we canceled recess. I said, everyone do everything indoors. And I told the teachers, like, don't let the kids out to go to the bathroom for a little while until they finally like rounded up this stupid bull that got out of its wherever it came from. But I'm like, seriously? I didn't want to do like an actual lockdown because then I would have to call parents. And so it was, well, you know how that all goes. Anyway, that's about physical safety, but there's also a lot of other types of safety for our students that we have to think about. Do they feel socially safe? Do they feel emotionally safe?
Well, I think socially, I guess a little bit emotionally is with high school kids or adolescents, that's such a crazy time for a kid. That's kind of like part of the motivation behind my whole idea of hashtag learning, about kids making real life and content connections and making their thinking visual. So it validates their ideas, their likes and experiences. If, for example, I've had students, I'm thinking of one right now in particular, a student who was extremely shy, would probably not get up and talk ever, or even like communicate what their likes and interests were ever publicly. But with my whole hashtag learn idea, when she had to write her hashtags and connect her likes and dislikes to the learning and put it on the whiteboard walls, as the year went on, it was very empowering for her. So she felt safe. Connecting. This student, she was a huge fan of anime. And, a lot of times those kids who are in anime, I'm sorry, get labeled and mistreated by kids in high school. It's just part of high school. Kids who are different, or part of the status quo, they get treated that way. Sure. But she felt comfortable enough in my room to connect everything that we learned to some anime character I had no idea. So I'd go up to her. She'd write it on the whiteboard, so I had to ask her to explain it.
Yeah.
So I understood that she was making the right connection. And more often than not, she did make the right connection. But something like trying to embed that that's the whole point of one of the reasons why I've developed that, to get kids to feel, I guess, emotionally safe expressing themselves.
Right.
She expressed herself probably made my class more than any class she'd ever been in.
That's good.
For me, that was a huge edgy win.
So the way I want to say this is, it's important in order for kids to feel socially and emotionally safe. You have to celebrate variability, right? You have to, because kids, especially depending on the age group, but particularly when they get into that adolescent age group, but even in upper elementary, they sometimes forget about themselves in order to try to fit in, right? Like, oh, that's not cool, so I'm going to do this. And so, and it's not just what happened when we were kids. This is still happening today, right? I mean, you see it. You're in high school. Yep. I see it in middle school. I see it in upper elementary all the time. And so I really think that as teachers, we need to model that, and we need to talk about how cool it is that different kids are doing different things. I mean, you think about even with our kids,
Yeah.
they're all completely different,
Yeah.
you know, with our, you know, and we have to validate that.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, Dylan's not super into playing sports right now, but he loves like editing videos. Cool, right? And Ariel, she likes music right now. She likes, like, you know, making videos. Cool. Ashley likes like building stuff, doing science.
And Judy likes destroying everything in the house.
Journey likes destroying everything. That's her gig.
That's
She likes to be loud and yell. It's cool.
Yeah.
But you don't expect it all to be the same. And so in the
That's right.
classroom, we have to do the same thing.
Yep.
Super important. So that helps make kids feel emotionally and socially safe. I like here what Les said. We're talking about safety for students. He says he has an open door policy.
Yep.
And so kids can eat lunch in his room, warm up food. They can come vent or talk. And the keys to be available. That is great. Very, very good.
Usually during lunch, I'll have like a Marvel movie on. The kids are just kind of flocking.
Oh, yeah.
And just BS and warm up their food. And I have one kid you can tell he's never seen, like, he's interested in Marvel. He's never watched them all. So we started.
Oh,
I
great.
go, we're going to watch them chronological order. I go, you can come in lunch every day. You know, it's only 20, 30 minutes anyway. So you know, he's been like coming every day to continue where we left off. So
you know what's interesting is at WAMS, where Dylan went to middle school, I really like this. They institute, I don't know if they still do this, they probably do. I was talking to the principal at the time, and she talked about, because I had kids coming from, there were 37 of them in all of 6th grade, and they were going to a huge 6-8 school. And so I was like, you know, how can I tell these kids, like my students, how can I tell them, I want to make sure that they socially feel safe. They're good academically, like I got them prepared, but how are they going to feel socially safe? And she said that what they do is during breaks and lunch, there are different places that you can go as a kid if you don't have friends to sit with. And they advertise this. They're like, hey, do you like to play board games? Come to this room. Like, and then they can meet new friends. Do you like to play video games? Come over here. Do you want to draw? Come over here. And so there's adults that'll be there, and they are trained to kind of like be on the lookout for kids that need, they need friends, because that's like this, and this happens a lot in high school. Well, it depends on how the school systems are set up. But at this particular school, you had all these kids from different school sites and different like demographics all coming together the same year. And so when that first started happening, it was really hard for kids to find a place and to all have friends even, you know, like that's really important. Kids got to feel like they belong. And so I really like that the school made a concerted effort to ensure that every single kid has a place to go.
Yeah.
And so I think that was pretty cool.
Nice. Well, it is about that time. It started very slow, but it picked up as we went on. So
Sure did.
we will see you guys next week.
Wait,
Same
next
bat-
week, yes.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Now,
I was
we
gonna say
are looking for this summer people to moderate, at least on Twitter,
Mhm.
see TikTok.
Especially when we're in ISTE.
Yes. So 2 weeks when we will not be here. We will be actually flying home on a plane.
That's right. And the Wi-Fi there, not so good.
Sucks.
Can't moderate the Twitter chat or do
Straight up
Facebook Live.
sucks. I don't care how much you pay for it. It sucks.
Yep.
So,
By the way, Jaime Kessa,
yes.
who is the Google for Education evangelist.
Yes. Like he started like the whole Chromebook program.
Oh, yeah. So he said that he gets so frustrated with the slow Wi-Fi on planes that he has stopped trying to do work. It puts him in a bad mood. And then he made fun of himself because he's like, really? I'm complaining that I don't get quick Wi-Fi just like that when I'm like 30,000 feet in the air? Who am I? Who am I right now? And so he like made fun of himself. He's like, but again, to keep myself calm, I just don't try. And it's totally cool. So just wanted to share that
Just watch a
from
movie.
Jaime Casa. Exactly. I would just read a book, I think. But anyway, cool.
Yep. All right. Same bat channel, same bat time. See you next week.
Sounds good.
All one.